I'm taking my negative, pessimistic self out of my mind, putting her next to me side by side and having a conversation. I guess you could call it FAT. The FAT system, frequently answered thoughts. So there you go. Bye bye fear. There's something I've been wanting to do for the past few days, but I found myself frozen with fear, overwhelm and procrastination. What I wanted to do is create a certain kind of video, but I felt a bit intimidated and scared of the idea of all the things that I need to do, and because of that I've been procrastinating, basically, as it usually happens. And when this kind of stuff happens, I worked out my little system that I know works to help me get out of that overwhelm and take action towards my goals or the things that I've been wanting to do. So I thought that since I'm overwhelmed right now and I've been spending my days procrastinating, kind of paralyzed with the fear and therefore not really doing anything towards my goals that I've planned out for the past few days, I thought, why not just turn on the camera and do it together? So grab a notebook or a laptop or a phone or anything to write your thoughts down, because we will tackle the overwhelm together and get rid of the fear and do whatever we need to do in order to kick the fear in the face or in the butt or slap it in the face or however you want to call it, and get over that and move forward towards our goals and dreams, creating the life we love and all of that. So grab a notebook, grab some beverage and let's do it together. What I found that is very helpful in these times where I am aware that I'm procrastinating because of fear is to sit down with myself, kind of self-reflect, grab a notebook or a laptop or phone or wherever you can sit down in peace and quiet to write down your thoughts and tackle these self-doubt, fearful thoughts that I'm throwing at myself in my mind, and see that they are not really as scary as my subconscious mind is making me think that they are. So this is what we're gonna do today. So the first thing, I have my laptop right here, and the first thing that I always do when I'm ready to sit down with myself and self-reflect on whatever doubt is holding me back right now is I take a notebook, either a physical or a digital one, and I write down, first of all, the thing that I wanted to do. In my case is to film a particular video, and then I write down all the thoughts, all the fears, all the self-doubts, all the self-depreciating messages, and anything that I can think of that is going on in my mind when I think of achieving that goal or working on that goal. We don't worry about solving these issues or answering these self-doubt bombarding messages that we have in our mind right now. We are just writing them down to get them out of our mind and onto the paper or the screen so we can see them all in order, let's say, and we have a kind of an inventory of everything that's going on in our mind when it comes to the fear of working on that particular goal. So first thing, write down what you want to work on. For me, it's to finish the book review video that I've been filming that I've been kind of procrastinating. So let's write it down. Okay. And now that I have my goal written down, what I'm gonna do is think about the action of achieving that goal. So things that I need to do, and write down every scary thought that I have about that topic. And this is no place or time to judge ourselves. This is a place and time to be genuine, honest, non-judgmental, supportive, and open-minded, to listen to your mind very deeply and allow these negative self-talk thoughts to just kind of flow, for all these fears to come out without any judgment on your part. We are just kind of a scientist or a doctor observing what's going on in our mind, letting all of it out, taking an inventory of every bad thought that comes in our mind, that happens to be in our mind when we think of working on this goal. And that's what we're doing right now. So write down all of your bad thoughts that pop up when you think of working on that goal. For example, the first thing that comes to my mind is that when it comes to creating videos and posting them on YouTube, my first fear is that no one's going to watch it. Another thing that pops in my mind is that I'm scared that the video is going to be boring. Another thing that's related to something else I've been working on is, long story short, I built myself a schedule of how I want to create content and wrap it around the whole lifestyle that I have right now. And I'm intimidated by that a little bit, and this makes me already scared ahead of time, even though the schedule hasn't started yet, because I've planned to start it in a week or two. I'm already scared that I'm not going to be able to keep up with it, and therefore this is another thing that's slowing me down, that's not directly tied to that goal, but it's also tied to the goal of making videos and publishing weekly that I would love to keep up with right now. So I will write it down, because even though it's not related to this one particular goal of finishing the book review video, it's tied to the fact that I want to publish weekly, and this is also what's slowing me down and paralyzing me and scaring me. No justifying these thoughts, just writing them down. So another fear or self-doubt of mine is that all my content is kind of incoherent and messy and all over the place. There's also another thought that is not as strong as the first four that I wrote down, but still is there somewhere hanging and digging at the back of my mind, and it is that it feels very vulnerable to talk about a book like that, because it touched me emotionally and I'm kind of scared to expose myself like that. Maybe that's another thing that's slowing me down, to open up and post something so vulnerable and also kind of flaws and, you know, weaknesses showing. But this is what I really want to do, and the authenticity is one of my priorities. Stop justifying. Just write the thoughts down. It's a reminder for you and also for me. So let's write another theory down. Okay, I think I'm done with writing my negative thoughts and fears down without judgment, just an inventory of stuff. Oh, again, the thunders. I got 5 down. You can have more or less depending on how well this exercise went for you. What I noticed is that when you're doing it for the first time, it's usually a bit difficult to dig down deep in your mind and be honest and vulnerable with yourself, to really nail down what's going on and what kind of fears you're having, because let's be real, it's kind of scary to admit that you're scared of something, or that you're scared of some outcome, or that you're scared of someone discovering a vulnerability of yours or using it against you or things like that, as we are often scared. So if it's your first time doing this exercise, don't be hard on yourself and just do it as it feels best. Even if you only got 1 fear down, that's still great, because we got something to work with. Try to get between 5, maybe 10 max down, but I would suggest 5, because the point is to nail down these negative thoughts and fears that are blocking us from working on that one goal or thing that we plan to do. So let's try to be focused. Now, as I said, it might be a bit challenging and difficult if it's your first time doing this kind of exercise, but the more you do it and the more you tune in with yourself and the more you are in tune to hear and to listen what are the scary thoughts in your mind whenever they pop up, whenever you're scared to do something, you'll get better and better at, first of all, identifying these fears, second of all, tackling them and resolving them as you go. So now the next step in this exercise is to take all these fears one by one and try to rationalize them and answer them in the most logical way possible. So all the emotions aside, we are just taking facts into the picture, trying to kind of debunk, dismount and destroy that fear essentially. I'm not coming at it from the perspective of positive thinking, like, you know, everything's gonna be okay and everything will be fine, and of course it's not gonna happen because we can't predict the future and we don't know. However, what we will do that I found for me works best when it comes to destroying the fears is we will tackle it from a very logical standpoint, logical perspective. I really love working on this step after writing all the fears down, because this is where you can really see the action taking place, and you can see the shift in your mood. You can feel like, okay, maybe I can actually do it. Maybe it's not as scary as I thought. So let's get into it. There are two things that we can do, and let me give you a little tutorial first before we jump into doing it properly. So we will be challenging these negative thoughts and fears with two different ways. One of the ways is to determine if this thought is useful, if it's helping us in any way, and if it's beneficial to have this kind of negative thought or fear rooted in our mind. Because yes, sometimes fear is helpful. Yes, sometimes a bit of realism or pessimism is okay. However, in the context of the goal that we have, for me, for example, finishing recording the book video or whatever it is that you are working on right now, is this thought helpful? Is it useful? Is it pushing you forward in any way? Or is it just useless? This is what we will determine, and we will have a look at whether we have evidence pro or against that thought. So can we confirm that this fear is valid and it's true and it's rational? Or is it just our subconscious mind trying to scare us into not progressing and not achieving that goal? If the first way is not really working for you, or you don't know exactly what to say or how to challenge that thought, what you can do is you can kind of trick your brain with facts. And we can get into that later on, where I will do a live demonstration of how I'm going to dismantle my own fears, so you can see both methods in action. So let's do the first one first. My first fear is that no one's going to watch the video. I think I can tackle it with the first method, which is to determine if this thought is helpful or not, and to see if I have any evidence pro or against. So what I like to do is to take that thought or that fear, move it down a little bit in my notebook, and then write a response directly below that. Remember that we are responding in a very logical way. We've still got the scientist hat on, and we are not trying to argue or defend ourselves or push ourselves down even more. No, the purpose of this is to get rid of these thoughts so you can work through that and get to working on the goal that you have. So no one's going to watch it. It's a rational fear, of course, because publishing things on YouTube is scary and it's out of the comfort zone, and it can be testing at times, right? So the fear that no one's going to watch it is valid. However, do I have evidence pro or against? I have evidence against this fact, and that evidence is all the other videos that I published on my channel. Even though at the moment of recording this I only have 45 subscribers, all the other videos that I've posted have more than that in views. So there's 77 on one, there's 100 something on one, there's 300 something on one. So it's not true that no one's going to watch it. Even if there's only 15 views on the next video, it's still, there will be at least one, at least 10, at least something. And that's the next step in the process. So this is what I'm gonna write down in here for myself in a factual, logical way, that it's not true that no one's going to watch it. Someone will watch it, even if for a few seconds. And this is what matters, because this is what my fear was, and this is what I'm responding to myself right now. So let's do it. Now you two think about a response to that first fear of yours, and try to answer it in a debate way, in the most logical way you can think of, with facts or evidence against that thought. There you go. The first one is done. I wrote down my response to that fear as if I was just responding to another person or having a conversation. I'm taking my negative, pessimistic self out of my mind, putting her next to me side by side and having a conversation. She's telling me no one's gonna watch that video, and I'm telling her that's not true. All the other videos I posted have gotten views, many of them more than my current number of subscribers, which means something. If my other videos got views, means that this one will get views too. And also, considering that it's a popular book I'm talking about, it is likely that the video will get more than no views. So there you go. Bye bye fear. So now that this one is done, and we used the kind of scientific, logical evidence pro or against method, let's have a look at the second method, because that can be helpful when it comes to more vulnerable fears, okay? So the second fear that I have is that I'm scared that the video is going to be boring. And what comes with that, sometimes when I think of this YouTube journey, I'm scared that I have nothing interesting to say, or that I'm not that interesting at all, or that people will not find it entertaining, or that I just have nothing cool to say. And this is a good fear, I feel like, to tackle with my second method, which is to bombard your brain with facts and fool it into thinking that whatever you're scared of is not true. So I love that method because I know consciously that I'm tricking my brain using facts. However, I've seen that it works very well. I don't know if it's a scientific method. I came up with it myself and I've seen that it works for me, so I invite you to try it as well. So let me give you an example of why it works well. By the way, hey Google, turn off the screen. There we go. So what I mean by bombarding your brain with facts to make it believe that whatever you're scared of is not true is when you're giving your brain a list of facts that you know for a fact are true, and then you're saying another statement on top of that that may or may not be true, it's more likely that your brain would believe that it's true when you're saying a lot of true things. Think about it like in the lie detector context. When they use the lie detector on you and they plug you into the machine, they ask you some basic questions like your name and your age and your date of birth or other things like that, just so that they can see how your brain and your body responds when you're lying and how your brain and body responds when you're saying something true. So we are doing something similar here. We are gonna say a few simple facts to my fear that I'm scared that the video is going to be boring, and therefore I'm scared that I am boring. So I will start by saying that my name is Agnes King. I'm 28. I'm living in Italy with my boyfriend right now. I lived in Tenerife and in London. I'm living a non-9-to-5 lifestyle. I had a business with my boyfriend. Now we're working together on music. I have long blonde hair and blue eyes, and I like green shirts. And now comes the part of tackling the fear. Since I said so many things that I know that are true, now I will start giving myself the facts that I want to believe that are against this fear that I have. So since the fear is that I'm scared that the video is going to be boring and therefore that I am boring, since I said so many things about myself, like, my name is Agnes King, I'm this many years old, this is what I look like, this is what my current living situation is, or this is what my past experiences are like, now I will start saying things that are against that fear and in line with what I want to believe in order to boost myself up and destroy this one little element there that is scaring me. So what I did, as I said before, I wrote down a list of facts about myself that I know that are true. So my name is Agnes. I live in Italy with my boyfriend. My hair is blonde and my eyes are blue. I like wearing green shirts. I live a non-9-to-5 lifestyle. I quit my 9-to-5 job in 2019. I lived in Tenerife and all the other things. Now, the reason why I started with that is to show myself and my brain, get it into thinking like, yeah, okay, these facts are true. She's not lying to me, I'm not lying to myself. I'm saying things that are true. This puts my brain in kind of state of belief, and it expects that anything else that I say after these statements should be true as well, because why not, right? I said so many true things so far, so why would I lie after that? So then what I did after that is kind of logically, realistically wrote some things about myself and my life that I believe / want to believe to be true, and tried to boost myself up by saying some nice things to myself. Now, again, I don't mean it just in like a optimistic, positive, everything's gonna be okay way. I mean it in a realistic and self-assuring way, like, yeah, I've done some cool stuff, yeah, I've lived through some cool experiences that are worth talking about. So yeah, this whole video is just one tiny step in a big bright perspective of all the things that I want to achieve in my life, so it doesn't really matter that much, or as much as I worry that it does. On top of that, now that I'm thinking, the book that I'm talking about is really cool and interesting and kind of controversial, so it would be likely that people would be interested in that book anyway, so whatever. just move on. Stop worrying about it so much, basically. Now that you got the 2 examples of 2 methods, so either tackling your fear logically with evidence pro or against and determining whether it's useful to have that fear or not, and then using facts and some positive boost to lift yourself up. Try to use both these methods interchangeably depending on which one works best for the particular fear or negative thought that you have. Dismantle them all, pause the video right now, come back to it when you're done, and I will do the same. So I'll see you in a moment. Now I think I'm done with answering and debating with my negative thoughts and fears. And I must say I feel much better. I felt quite overwhelmed at the beginning and I felt kind of crushed down by the fear that was holding me back and making me procrastinate, making me slow down, making me not want to do what I wanted to do out of all these little irrational fears. And now that I answered it in a logical way or tackled it with facts to make my brain believe that this really isn't true, I feel much better. And honestly, the only thing that comes to my mind right now is like, what the f was I scared of? It's really not such a big deal now that I think about it. Now that I'm looking through all my answers and I'm thinking about it rationally, all the emotions aside, I can see that the fear that I had is really not such a big deal. So I hope that this exercise brought you some kind of similar feeling and similar catharsis in a way that you're not so scared anymore and you're ready to go on, tackle your day and go ahead with whatever you planned to do for yourself, because I feel ready and I hope that you feel ready too. So now the last and a very important step is to go and take action. Don't just sit in this cool feeling of, yeah, I don't feel scared anymore and everything is okay, because this is a fleeting state. Now that you've tackled your fears, you've taken the action to dismount all your fears and negative thoughts and like kick them in the face and get rid of them in a way that they don't overwhelm you so much. Use that energy and this positive feeling to actually take action, even one small step towards working on that goal that you've set for yourself. And then when you're feeling down again in the future, or you're feeling scared again in the future, which is likely to happen, it's a completely normal thing, you can take that list of all the answers that you wrote down and use it as your own personal manual to kick your fear in the face whenever it comes up next. I like to have my personal FAQ of, I guess you could call it FAF, frequently answered fears, FAT, FAT, the FAT system, frequently answered thoughts. I like to have my own FAT, FAT, frequently answered thoughts, thing somewhere on hand whenever I'm working on a goal that's scaring me, so that whenever the next moment comes up when I'm scared or overwhelmed or paralyzed by inaction and all these overwhelming thoughts, I just grab that FAT system. What a cool name. I just grab that FAT compendium of all my answers. I read through it, and then without having to go through all of the stuff again and writing all the answers again, I can quickly get myself back in a state of like, yeah, I can do it, it's not a big deal, nothing much to be scared of, and I can progress and go on with the task at hand. So what I will do right now is go down to eat first of all, then I will continue reading the book so I can finish it in a matter of day or two, so then I can finish recording the video of this freaking book review that I've been wanting to do for over a week now. If any of my fears come up, I have my notebook open right here for whenever I feel down again, so I can read through my answers. If anything new comes up, I can always add to this list, and I suggest you do the same. Group these thoughts by the tasks that you have at hand, so you can always find that list or the page in your notebook and look back at it again. And look through your own logical answers in a down moment, because you are your best ally in these kind of moments of doubt and fear and scariness and overwhelm and paralyzation. So now what I am going to do is I'm going to read my book, I'm going to finish my video and get all this thing out of the way, because I've been wanting to do that for weeks. And now that I've tackled my fears, I feel confident that I can do it. So What are you going to do after you've done this exercise? Let me know down in the comments, and use that energy to get the moving and progress with your goal, because that's the point. Like, we want to do things in our life, achieve cool things, build cool stuff, and create whatever. Good luck working on your goals. Check in with the comments, support each other, be nice, and all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.